Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Bruce, my friends call me Fluff, and today on Riffs, Beards, and Gear, we check out the all-new GENOME AMP Sim ecosystem from 2 Notes. So in the last couple of years, we have really been spoiled as guitar players and bassists, I feel like, with the digital stuff, right? So we have all seen and been flooded and powdered over the head with one-off guitar amp sims and we're the best and we're the best. Well, however, 2 Notes just released GENOME, and it is an entire ecosystem in which your guitar tone can live. And we're gonna talk about it today. Before we go any further, you should know that this is a sponsored video. 2 Notes asked me to show you the GENOME plugin. However, all thoughts and opinions are still mine. All right, so there's a lot to get to with GENOME, but some of the takeaways that you need to know about GENOME is it is an amp sim plugin. However, it is much more than that. It is meant to be a complete signal chain and thusly an ecosystem with which you can create your tones, and that is including things like, outboard effects and post EQ and studio flavored stuff that I normally, do here with outboard gear. The point of GENOME is to not have to leave the plugin and to tweak and dial to your heart's content inside it, and then just be done. Now within GENOME, there are 3 brand new software engines that you should be aware of. First up is Codex. Now Codex is basically allowing third-party capturing software. For example, the neural amp engine that some of you guys may have seen and that made a lot of waves recently in the last year in the guitar community. It can interface and allow you to use captures from third-party capturing systems and then use an AI-powered tool to help you further sculpt those what would be normally static captures, if that makes sense, right? So I can go and I can get a capture of a PV5150 and I can use GENOME to further sculpt the top end or, the saturation of that capture using AI. Now, the second software engine that is in GENOME is the TSM, or the tube stage modeling, which offers a whole bunch of power tube options as well as preamp and power tube options. Finally, there is a plethora, cornucopia, if I may, of options for power amp modeling, which is something that I used to gripe about a decade ago in literally every digital platform. There was no power section modeling, which, in a real amp, a power section is a very crucial thing. 2 Notes is taking care of that. And lastly, there is the pedal engine. The pedal software engine is going to basically give you a whole bunch of emulations of real classic pedals in a very, very accurate form. Big muffs, overdrives, drive pedals, reverbs, all sorts of stuff falls under the pedal software engine. It is just meant to be another small piece of the tonal puzzle within GENOME. And lastly, if you are a previous customer or a user of the 2 Notes Wall of Sound, all of the cabinets that you have ever purchased for the Wall of Sound product or the Torpedo Live product or the Captor product, that is all integrated in GENOME. So you can use all of the cabinets that you have bought and used over the years. You don't have to repurchase them for any reason. You can just log in as you would when you first fire up the software, and it downloads all your cabs. It's pretty nice. All right, so I have GENOME open and we're gonna go through a couple of different things. This is literally the very first preset in GENOME. This is the Gemini TSM amplifier. Sounds like this. Now, of course, I can mess with any of the EQ. I can up the gain a little bit more if I want. Let's dive into the power section, shall we? I'm just gonna click on the power amp settings and boom, I can change out the power tubes if I want. Hear how the EL84s are much less bottom heavy than the KT88s. Also, you have that top end and a little bit of breakup because the EL84s are little teeny tiny guys compared to the KT88s. I am not personally a huge fan of the EL84s on this kind of a setup. Let's go to EL34s. I'm also in a clean tone because I think this is a really good use case to illustrate the different sounds and the sonics that is happening in the power section. All right, so let's go ahead and tweak something else. I'm going to turn off the dynamic. I'm also going to turn off the reverb. Let's dive into some of the Codex stuff. Now, these are going to be various tone stacks. In some cases, it can be pedals. However, we're going to go for a certain tone stack. I'm going to go ahead and leave the cab section on, although we're probably going to want to tweak this. Maybe California Recto or oversized Mesa cabinet. Let's find a tone stack. I'm gonna go with Spawn High Gain Amp. Now, right away, I need to do some tweaking on this cabinet. So I'm gonna go over here to the cabinet section. I feel like that's a good starting point. Let's go back. I'm gonna cut a little bit of 800. I'm gonna boost some 200. Let's turn on the gate while we're at it. This would be a good starting point for a high gain guitar tone, and then depending on the mix and the song and things like that, and the guitar that I'm using, I would further dial this in. Let's check out some presets. Ode to Angus. Sandman, what is this? That is literally taking a guitar DI and processing the heck out of it. We have a compressor basically, an enhancer, modulation, reverb, and then another enhancer with some EQ. That's amazing. What is grunge? I have to click on grunge icon. The Freak. I really do love KT88s. See, clouds. There better be some delay on this thing or reverb. It'd be cool to move this delay, and actually we should put a boost. That's a saucy one. All right, one more. We'll do one more. Let's go to Slapback Boogie. Okay. Codex. So what do I think? So I am a former 2Notes artist rep, employee of 2Notes about a decade ago. And I remember Guillaume telling me that they were working on what eventually became GENOME back then. They had already started developing and kind of working on this plugin. And I remember how excited he was when they kind of made some of the breakthroughs that we now are seeing finally. And I think this plugin is awesome. I think it's a welcome addition to have all of the power tube modeling and, you know, the ability to choose KT66s, and it sounds like a KT66, but also having the, you know, the EQ, the studio EQ looks a lot like FabFilter Fab Pro Q3, which all of us, if we're in, you know, the guitar nerdy world, that's what we're using anyway. So I love the fact that it feels familiar and sounds new, if that makes sense. And it's also starting at 80 bucks, which is extremely competitive. I can't wait to see where this is in a year. The only thing I would change about GENOME is there's no standalone version at this time. At the time of this video, there's no standalone version of GENOME. You have to fire up a DAW, Logic, Pro Tools, Studio One, Reaper, whatever, in order to use it. I would love to see a standalone version of GENOME in the future. All applicable links down below in the description, and while you're down there, please consider subscribing to further support this channel. And with that, you've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.